Alright, ladies and gentlemen, even though I'm not going to go into the cinema and pay to see an Aquaman movie, we're going to track Aquaman's box office so far. So if you look at his box office so far, domestically speaking, over this weekend, seeing that the film was released December 21st, 2018, its first weekend gross is going to be estimated to be around $72 million. Okay? Now, that's lower than any other DCE movie. The next lowest is Justice League it debuted at 93 million, 94 million. Wonder Woman debuted at 103 million. Man of Steel debuted at 116 million. Suicide Squad debuted at 133 million. And Batman v Superman debuted at 166 million. So Aquaman is the lowest grossing DCEU movie to date when it comes to debuts. Okay? Now, that doesn't really mean much. We have to see what the word of mouth is and how long Aquaman will actually stay in cinemas and be financially viable. What I'm saying is word of mouth is very important with this movie. So that this is the first weekend. Will we have a big drop or will we have a small drop from weekend to weekend? That would tell me something. But here's very important information you guys need to know. So the competing movies right now with Aquaman are Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which debuted December 14, 2018, Bumblebee, which debuted the same time with Aquaman, December 21st, and Mary Poppins, which debuted the Wednesday, not the Friday, which was December 19th. Now, of all these movies here, what you notice is that when you look at their domestic totals that they start off with, they're all smaller than Aquaman. So Mary Poppins is 31 million, Bumblebee in its first weekend is 21 million. The Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse debuted at 35 million, which is a far cry away from 72 million. Basically, Aquaman has cleared the field tremendously, which means there was a demand to see Aquaman at the end of this year. Makes sense. It was one of the more highly anticipated movies. So, what we actually have is a situation where Aquaman really is going to have free reign, and depending on how things pan out for the next couple of weeks, we'll know if its drop is going to be significant or not after people have viewed it. The second week drop will really tell us where Aquaman actually stands. But some other interesting information. Aquaman just debuted, but internationally speaking, Aquaman has debuted quite a while ago. When we look at China right here in all the international grossing, you can see that China is already close to 200 million according to this. I think it probably by now broke 200 million. This may be in a lag phase. And we definitely haven't caught all the countries of the world, so that when we look at this international box office here for $410 million, which is tremendous, you can expect Aquaman's international box office to go even higher than that, much significantly higher than that, because most of the countries have still not seen Aquaman. So this particular balance we see here, worldwide balance here, which we know is double the production budget, which makes it financially viable already. It doesn't even need to have a U.S. base to be financially viable. But even so, if it rakes in, let's say, the lower end of the spectrum. So if we look at, for instance, the lower grossing movies, like, for instance, Justice League, which grossed in, and it's at the end of its domestic run, $229 million. Let's just say Aquaman grosses in $229 million. Internationally already, $229 billion plus $410 million, let's just go with that. That's $639 million, which makes Aquaman financially viable. But here's the interesting thing about it. That's the lower end of the spectrum, okay? International, we already know Aquaman's going to gross in probably an additional $200 million added to the $410 million already. So that's $600 million right there. And you add in $200 million on top of that, it's going to gross in somewhere in the vicinity of $700 to $800 million when all is said and run at the end of this run. It could gross in more, it could gross in less. But the interesting thing is it would have made its money. So that's a very important thing to note, because, again, internationally, it's just gone. It's leaps and bounds ahead of anything. It's already made its money. It's already now raking in profits. Now let's look at Mary Poppins' returns. When internationally speaking, it only has grossed in so far $51 million. Bumblebee, $52 million. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has now internationally and otherwise grossed in $129 million. I mean, everybody else is just way behind Aquaman. So I expect Aquaman to gross in a ton of money. And even though it has debuted at lower than other DCEU movies, I expect it to perform better when its overall gross is finished than Justice League, which grossed in $657 million, even though worldwide it grossed in $428 million. When we look at what its worldwide box office looks like, China, it grossed in $106 million. But in this case, that was $106 million. When you look at the other countries, Brazil, $41 million. Brazil's going to print some of those. Australia, $15 million. France, $14 million. We're just looking at double digits here. Indonesia, $10 million. Mexico, $24 million. Just look at these figures. Russia, $10 million. South Korea, $13 million. And United Kingdom, $24 million. You're just going by those figures alone. You can see how Aquaman would really rake in a lot more money than just $410 million here. You're talking about some, let's just see. Let's just do a quick calculation there. We're looking at Justice League. Just Justice League alone. Okay? And Justice League had the record for the most amount of money internationally. So if you look at the UK there, and you look at the UK with Aquaman, I'm sorry, not weekends, foreign. Alright, the United Kingdom is only at 6 million. Or 7 million, let's just say. 7 million. So when you look at it here, 24 million, it's talking about a quantity of about $17 million still to go there. Okay? Then you have... you don't have South Korea there, so that's extra 13 million. That's a 30 million right there. Russia rakes in 10 million there, and currently in Russia we are raking in 7 million, so it's about 3 million extra. It's 33 million. We got the Netherlands there. The Netherlands, there you are. Oh, the Netherlands didn't gross in much. And here, the Netherlands grossed in a lot more. Whew, a lot more than it usually grosses in, which is interesting. Mexico, when you look at Mexico here, 24 million, and I think you see 8 million there. Yeah. So we're talking about a balance of 16 million added to a 33 million. That's, what's that? 33 million and 16 million is what? It's what, 59 million? That's 59 extra $1 million right there. Okay, and in Brazil is at 7 million. That's another big box office draw right there. And Brazil will be at 41 million. So we're looking at 50 something million. And then you add Brazil to the equation. Let me see. I'm doing some calculations here. That's at 7, 41, 34. 34 and 50 something, I think it's 59, is like what, 93? That's 93 extra $1 million right there. And then we don't have countries like Australia, which is an extra 15 million, which will carry us to 108 million. We don't have countries like France. I don't think France is in that equation. No France. So when we include France, we add an extra 14 million. We're talking about 121 million. And let's see what else we got here. I don't know if you have Indonesia in there. You do? No. Indonesia has an extra 10 million. That's 131 million. Yeah, that's about it. So 131 million added to that gives us $541 million, $542 million. So that's what the foreign box office is going to look like. $542 million, probably the highest international box office that we have ever had. Yeah, it'll be the highest. $542 million. Batman, nope. It might. Batman v Superman might have higher. As it might. It's possible it might surpass Batman v Superman in terms of international box office. So if its domestic box office can just do anything, 200 million, whatever, it'll be 700 and something million. So like I said, between 700 something million, 800 something million, it could end up, it is run up with, it could even go beyond that, depending on how its domestic box office is. And I think this is a film for families, so I think its domestic box office is really going to measure up. So it's going to be a far cry away from the bomb Justice League, which would be awesome. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. You guys have a great one.